Hello. Well, today we're going to talk about the journey of the English language. My name is Paula, and I will start our presentation. So, when we think about English today, we usually imagine like a global language, but it wasn't always like that. English had to travel, change, and survive many influences over time. So the story begins in the 5th century with the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes. They brought their dialects to Britain, and these later became Old English. So to us, Old English almost feels like another language, and it was full of inflections and very strong sounds. So when Christianity arrived, many Latin words entered, especially in religion and education. So this stage may sound a little bit distant, but it planted the roots of English as we know it.
Okay, my name is Valeria Peña, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Middle English. The turning point for English came in 1066. That's the year with the Norman conquest. When William the Conqueror and his army took English, French, became the language of the court, the government, and like nobility specifically. Latin remained the language for the church and education, while English was actually pushed down to the common people. For most for almost 300 years, English was rarely written. It survived mainly in the homes, on the streets, in daily life. But instead of disappearing, actually, English absorbed and adapted. I mean, from French, it borrowed thousands of words, like in law, words like justice and jury, also in government, like council and parliament. In food, we see words like beef, like pork, and mutton. These actual borrowings were made the vocabulary richer and more varied. At the same time, English grammar began to be simplified. Old English had many endings for nouns, verbs, and adjectives. English lost most of these inflections. This was also a time for many dialects, since there was no single standard English. A person from the north could sound very different from someone in the south, yet one writer helped bring some unity. Unity, sorry. It's his name is Geoffrey Chaucer. In the late 14th century, he wrote the Canterbury Tales in the London dialect, and his stories show a language in tradition, not actually like fully old, but not yet modern. And it was already like full of life, flexibility, and creativity. So basically, Middle English was like the bridge, and it carried English from its Germanic root in Old English toward the more familiar form that we use today, shaped by like history, conquest, and also by culture. So now, Nicole, can you tell us a little bit more about early modern English?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Ruiz, and I will explain early modern English. Well, the Renaissance brought curiosity, knowledge, and a lot of new words. English borrowed freely from Latin and also Greek. In 1476, William Caxton introduced the printing press, which helped standardize some spelling and grammar, although not perfectly. This period is also famous because of William Shakespeare, of course. He experimented with the language, creating a lot of new words and expressions that we still use today. Thanks to the writers, thanks to the scientists and explorers, English grew not only for communication but also as a language of art, imagination, and discovery.
Well, hello, my name is Laura, and I will finish our presentation with modern and global English. By the 18th and 19th centuries, English was much closer to what we speak now. But what really expanded it was the British Empire, which spread English across North America, the Caribbean, Africa, India, and many other regions. Later in the 20th century, the United States made English even stronger worldwide through business, music, movies, and technology. Today, English is spoken in many varieties, such as British, American, Indian, Caribbean, and more. This diversity proves that English does not belong to only one nation. It belongs to everyone who uses it. So the conclusion is that the story of English is about movement, contact, and creativity. Globalization has turned it into a bridge between cultures, but also into a language of many voices. English is no longer a single voice. It is a chorus that connects the world. Thank you so much for your attention.
Right. Bye bye.